We cut our marketing budget because Google ads, Yelp ads, networking, all that stuff in our mind had to take a back seat so we can focus on how do we make payroll. You'll see the negative impact that makes on your qualified leads. In reality, those investments into that marketing strategy was our secret sauce, and we cut it. It was only when our business coach figured out what was going on and said, "What the heck are you doing?" Does your business make a lot of money on paper, meaning your revenue is a high amount, but you struggle to keep money in the business? There's no cash flow. There's no net profit. Oftentimes, you opt out of payroll just to make sure you're leaving money in the business so that it can run properly next month or even next week. We call this key failure indicators. We jokingly say that, but if you really think about it, those are indicators that show that you're failing in business, especially when it comes down to the money side. There's two things that you could do. You could trim fat, or you can increase your investments specifically in the areas of bringing in more. Most business owners get paralyzed here, and they opt for the easier option, which is to trim fat, because that's really what we're trained to do. If we can't keep more, we trim as much as possible so that we could see immediate cash flow. Here's the problem with that. There's only so much fat that you could trim, especially at your level in business. If you're at 7, 8, and 9 figures in your business, there's not so much that you could trim off before you start cutting off necessary investments like marketing, like branding, like PR, like all the things that are important to keep your leads coming in consistently. And if you're not careful, you'll see a delayed reaction. You cut marketing and branding, in about 1 to 3 months, you'll see the negative impact that makes on your qualified leads. For example, when I was running an air duct cleaning company in San Diego, California, we were having issues with cash flow. And later on, I realized we overhired, hoping that we can keep up with the summer demand. But you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to increase the investment in marketing. So what happened? We couldn't keep up with payroll. There was not enough money in the bank to keep up with the payroll. So you know what we did next? We cut our marketing budget because Google ads, Yelp ads, networking, all that stuff in our mind had to take a back seat so we could focus on how do we make payroll. In reality, those investments into that marketing strategy was our secret sauce, and we cut it. It was only when our business coach figured out what was going on and said, "What the heck are you doing? You never cut marketing. If anything, when times get bad, and if you are actually blessed to foresee hard times coming, you increase your marketing. You hone in on your branding message, and you make sure that qualified leads are coming in." The second thing to focus on is conversion. Guys, sales and more sales fixes the majority of financial problems. I can't stress this enough. If you're not good at sales, you can have so many qualified leads coming in, but you can't convert. And when you can't convert, you think you just need more leads. No, the problem isn't the leads. The problem is your failure to convert. A lot of times, it's just a couple of tweaks away from perfecting your conversion ratio. You know what I find most when people struggle with sales? It's not that they can't show value. It's not that they can't sit and listen to the customer's problems and help them with a solution to their symptoms. It's most salespeople are afraid to ask for the business when they know it's the right time to ask for the business. Guys, the psychology of sales goes like this. People buy an emotion and they will justify it with logic. Let me give you an example, another personal one. I just bought a Tesla, and I'm waiting for it to be delivered. And I have the anticipation, and I'm anticipating that day it's going to be delivered. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm super emotional right now, but I justified it with logic. Now, I know that I'm kind of throwing myself under the bus, but we're all guilty of this. I have an SUV that takes premium gas. It cost me almost $100 just to fill up half the tank. I have a large family, and we have a lot of activities going on. We are spending over $1,000 a month in gas alone, not including our other vehicles. This is for the SUV alone. Guess what I figured out? If I finance a Tesla, I'd be spending about $650 a month to own an electric vehicle that will cost me little to almost nothing to charge every single night in my garage. The financing for the Tesla alone was half of what I spent on gas with my SUV. By the way, that SUV also has a decent amount of miles on it, meaning I'm going to have to probably put some money or put some investments into keeping it running for a little bit longer. Do you see where the logic comes in? My emotions were really high when it was painful to gas up the SUV. And I justified that purchase of the Tesla with logic behind that. Now, is it right or is it wrong? I don't know. I'm just happy about it. But a lot of people will do that. And if you don't understand that psychology, then you're going to sell to nobody. Understand this. You are an amazing solution to a lot of your clients' symptoms. You sell to the symptom, okay? They're broke. They're unhappy. They're needing a toilet to be unclogged if you're a plumber. See, that's a symptom. But you have to understand this. It's a psychological thing. If they buy on emotion, sit there and listen to their biggest pain point and provide yourself as a solution to that symptom and ask for the business. Selling is the cure for the majority of your financial problems. Now, it doesn't fix bad habits or horrible disciplines. You also need to work on that in parallel to your sales game. But if you can convert more, you can really fix the financial problem. I know so many businesses that sell so much that money is coming in and it's hiding a lot of financial problems in their business. And when they stop selling, all those things come to the surface and then it gets exposed. But the example I'm trying to make with that is if you sell a lot more of what you're already doing at a higher price, you can relieve the tension of being or feeling broke, which again is a key failure indicator. I'm going to joke about that one a lot. Key failure indicator instead of key performance indicator. Go ahead. You can take that one. Here's the reality of business owners that I encounter every day. Believe it or not, I coach a lot of companies that revenue-wise, they do 8 figures, a really healthy 8 figures. And the business owners themselves are still struggling with paying themselves enough for running a business that large because they have a sales problem. There's a formula that I call the 5 ways formula. Now, I didn't make this up. If you're familiar with ActionCOACH, we use that formula to gauge and measure things that we want to master, such as our numbers and the results of our leads coming in through every single marketing strategy that we do. But here it goes. Leads times conversion rate equals customers. Customers multiplied by number of transactions multiplied by average dollar sale equals revenue. You take that revenue, you multiply it by your profit margins, you get your profit. The reason why leads times conversion ratio is at the top is because everything starts there. 2 things. Make sure leads are coming in, and more importantly, make sure they're qualified. If you can hit the qualified leads part right, conversion is a lot easier than if they're not qualified. Conversion ratio is a skill that must be developed by you and your sales team if you have one. Do you train them? Do you teach them how to sell? Are they applying their skills and improving them on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis? Do you as a company provide training to keep that skill going and improving? That is a perishable skill, guys. If you don't train sales, people fall back to bad habits of selling. Let me tell you this. A lot of salespeople still have a negative image of what sales is. And most salespeople don't even consider themselves salespeople. They don't like it. They've heard so many stories about the greasy hair car salesman who's always trying to close you, who pressures you into buying something that you don't need. You know, those guys that knock on your door and try to sell you solar or an alarm system that will not leave unless you show them a gun or slam the door in their face? Yes, there's a bad image of sales. And a lot of people coming into sales positions think that that's their image. It's not. If you could teach them a few things, listen for the pain point, articulate the pain point back to them, provide solutions to the symptoms, and ask for the business, I guarantee you, your conversion ratios will skyrocket. If you have qualified leads to top that, you're going to be able to increase your average dollar sale because they're going to want to spend more with your company. So at the end of the day, if you make a lot of money in revenue, but your profit margins suck, cash flow isn't there, and you're struggling to pay yourselves, here's the solution. Sell more. But it's not just about selling more. It's about getting better at the first 2 metrics when it comes to that 5 ways formula. Leads times conversion ratio. Focus on those 2 things. Now, This is not a pass for ignoring everything else. You need to know your numbers. Your prices should have a formula that implements not just gross profit, but net profit. You should also know how many products you need to sell to break even. Breaking even, guys, is about covering the cost of the sale plus covering the cost of what it takes to run your entire business, whether you sell something or not. These are the expenses like automatic payments, insurance, rent, salaries, etc., etc. So guys, selling more is the number one solution, but you have to equally pay attention to everything that comes under that. Budgeting, systems, putting the right people in place, making sure that there's a clear vision, mission, and culture statement for your company. You have to spend your time in the right areas, not just in your business, but definitely on the business, planning for all these things that we're talking about. Your customers need to know that they can trust you and that there's consistency. You have to have systems around all that. So if you're struggling with the symptoms of little to no profit margins, little to no cash flow in your business, struggling to pay yourself because you have to make a decision of not paying yourself to keep cash in your business, those are key failure indicators, okay? And you need to do something about it. Sell more. Make sure your leads are qualified. Make sure they're coming in abundance. Don't stop your marketing. If anything, find a way to increase those investments. People buy on emotion, so make sure you and your salespeople are focused on that. It's not about the problem. They know it. It's about the symptom that will never go away. And they want the symptoms to go away. It's like the flu. The flu's a problem, but the symptom is drowsiness, can't get out of bed, runny nose. So products that sell to the flu don't talk about the flu. They talk about the symptoms, and they get people to buy that on emotion, and they justify it with the logic of, well, I have a runny nose. I have a fever. I can't get out of bed. So if I do this, I can get better and I can go to work and I won't lose money. Do you see where I'm going with that? They buy on emotion, justify with logic. So at the very end of the day, make sure that you are training your salespeople, empowering them, elevating your skills and your team skills to sell more, because that's the first step to solving the financial issue. After sales, make sure everything else is done correctly. Now, if you want to figure all this out on your own, you can definitely do that. That will take you down a journey of its own. But if you are ready for a change and you're ready for your business to be profitable, have systems in place for an amazing team to follow so that you don't have to be there every day and your business can still work without you, visit our website link, ActionCOACHKansasCity.com, and schedule a call with one of our coaches. We could talk to you about your business and figure out what the right next steps are for you. Stay strong.